every commercial plumber has this bottle in their truck. They use it on commercial jobs, but they will absolutely never tell you to buy it. Because once you know these 7 tricks, you will never call them for a clogged drain again. My name is Jeremiah Byler, and I've been a part time plumber for the Amish settlements. I don't hold a state license, and I don't carry a truck full of expensive power augers. What I carry is a brown glass bottle from the drugstore that costs $1.17. And I am here to tell you that the modern plumbing industry, along with every chemical company that sells you neon colored gel in a plastic jug, has built $1 million business on convincing you that your drains are a mystery only they can solve. Trust me on this, they are not. Here's the part that should make you uneasy. The average American household spends over $400 a year on drain cleaners, plumber service calls, and emergency after hours fees. And what do they get? A temporary fix, a caustic acid that eats through your pipes from the inside, or a technician who spends 15 minutes with a snake and charges you $250 for the visit. Meanwhile, the Amish have been using a single food grade household liquid to clear clogs, sanitize wells, remove rust, and even freshen laundry water for over 100 years. And the plumbers know about it. They just don't want you to remember. That liquid is hydrogen peroxide, not the weak 3% stuff from the first aid aisle, though. That works too, but the principle's behind it. Today, I'm going to give you 7 forgotten tricks that cost pennies, require no electricity, and will make you look at that brown bottle in your medicine cabinet with a whole new respect. Before I give you the steps, you need to understand what's actually happening in your pipes. Most clogs aren't solid objects, they're biofilm, a slimy, living matrix of bacteria, soap, scum, hair, and decomposed organic matter that sticks to the inside of your drain like a wet scab. The chemical companies want you to think it's a block of grease that needs to be melted with acid, but that's a lie. What breaks down biofilm is oxygen. Hydrogen peroxide is just water with an extra oxygen atom attached. When it hits organic material, that extra oxygen molecule breaks free and creates a violent, microscopic fizz that physically tears apart the slime without melting your PVC pipes. It's oxidation, not corrosion. And that is the forgotten secret that every master plumber in the old days used before Drano ever existed. Now, let's get to work. I'm going to give you these 7 tricks in the order I use them myself, starting with the most common and moving to the one that will save you a $400 well pump repair. Let me start with the trick I do every single month. Every first Saturday of the month, before I go to bed, I pour 1 cup of standard 3% hydrogen peroxide, the kind you pay 89 cents for at the discount store, directly into each drain in the house: kitchen sink, bathroom sink, shower, and floor drain. I let it sit for exactly 30 minutes. Then I pour a kettle of boiling water down after it. That boiling water activates the peroxide faster, and the combination creates a foam that lifts the biofilm right off the pipe walls. Do this once a month, and you will never have a slow drain. That treatment costs about 12 cents per drain. Now here's the one for your shower. Your shower drain is a hair trap, and that hair is coated with sebum and soap. Here's my recipe. Take half a cup of 3% peroxide and mix it with 2 tablespoons of baking soda until it forms a thin paste. Pour that paste directly into the shower drain. Let it sit for 1 hour, not 20 minutes, a full hour. Then pour a half cup of white vinegar down after it. The vinegar and peroxide react to create peracetic acid, which is a powerful organic dissolver. You will hear fizzing. That's the hair and soap breaking apart. Flush with hot water. I've cleared drains that were down to a trickle with this method in under 2 hours. That costs about 30 cents. A plumber call for the same job? $175. You do the math. Those ugly orange-brown stains on your chrome faucet or your shower head aren't hard water. They're iron oxidation. But you don't need a specialized rust remover. Take a quart of warm water, add a half cup of peroxide and a quarter cup of cream of tartar. That's the powder in the spice aisle. Mix it into a thick slurry. Coat your shower head or faucet with this paste using a cheap paintbrush. Cover it with plastic wrap and let it sit for 2 hours. The peroxide pulls the oxygen out of the iron oxide, turning it back into a soluble compound that rinses right off. Rinse with a rag and water, and the fixture will look factory new. I've done this on brass fixtures from the 1920s, and they came up gleaming. That costs maybe 60 cents. A replacement fixture? $40. Now this one is serious, so listen close. If your well water starts to smell like rotten eggs, that's hydrogen sulfide gas produced by sulfur-reducing bacteria living in your water system. The modern solution is a $50 chlorination service. The old world solution is 1 pint of high-strength food-grade peroxide 12%, which you can buy online for $7 a gallon poured directly into your well casing. But you have to do it carefully. Turn off the pump. Pour the peroxide in slowly. Then run every faucet in the house for 5 minutes until you smell a faint bleach-like odor. But it's not bleach, it's oxygen. Turn the pump back on and let the system sit for 8 hours overnight. The next morning, run the water until the smell is gone. The peroxide oxidizes the sulfur bacteria into harmless sulfates, and you're done. That 1 pint costs about $1. A plumber's well shock service costs $300 minimum. I've done this for 15 families in our district, and every single one of them called me back to say thank you. If you're on a septic system, you worry about the good bacteria in your tank. Chemical cleaners kill that bacteria. Peroxide does not. In fact, peroxide breaks down into water and oxygen, which actually feeds the aerobic bacteria in your septic field. Here's the trick. Once a month, when you're washing a load of whites, add a half cup of 3% peroxide directly to the bleach dispenser instead of bleach. It whitens clothes, kills mildew smells, and when that water hits your drain field, it carries dissolved oxygen with it, which helps your septic system breathe. I've got neighbors who haven't pumped their tanks in 12 years because they do this. That costs 10 cents per load. Septic pumping? $400. Your garbage disposal is a dark, wet cave filled with rotting food particles. And that smell that wafts up when you turn it on? That's anaerobic bacteria off-gassing. Take a tray of ice cubes about 2 cups and pour a half cup of peroxide over them. Turn on the disposal, drop the ice peroxide mix in, and run cold water. The ice physically knocks the gunk off the blades while the peroxide oxidizes the odor-causing bacteria. Follow it with a lemon wedge and your kitchen will smell like a spring morning. That costs about a nickel for the peroxide. The chemical descalers they sell for $10 are just perfume and acid. This is the one that plumbers really hate. When a toilet flushes slowly, 90% of the time it isn't the wax ring or a main line. It's mineral scale and biofilm built up inside the toilet's internal trapway. Most people replace the entire toilet that's $300. Here's the forgotten trick. Turn off the water supply. Flush the toilet to empty the tank and bowl. Plug the bowl with a rag to block sewer gas. Then pour 2 cups of 3% peroxide into the bowl, followed by a cup of citric acid powder, the kind in the canning aisle. Wait. Let that reaction happen for 4 hours. The peroxide breaks down the organic biofilm, and the citric acid dissolves the calcium scale. After 4 hours, pour a gallon of hot, not boiling hot water down the bowl. Flush. I've restored toilets that were barely draining to a full swirling vortex in one afternoon. That costs about 75 cents. A new toilet and installation, $350. And you don't even have to carry a heavy porcelain bowl out to the curb. Now, I'll give you a bonus trick that doesn't fit into the seven, but it's too good to leave out. You know that stubborn black mildew stains on your shower grout that no scrub brush can touch? Take a spray bottle, fill it with half peroxide, half water, and add 1 tablespoon of Dawn dish soap. Shake it up, spray the grout, wait 10 minutes, and scrub with a stiff nylon brush. The peroxide bleaches the mildew from the inside of the porous grout, not just the surface. I taught this to a young English fellow who runs a cleaning business, and he told me he saved himself from buying a $200 steam cleaner. That cost him $1 in 5 minutes. Let me lay it out plain. The plumbing industry and the chemical giants that supply it have turned a simple chemical reaction into a recurring subscription service. They sell you drain treatments that are mostly thickeners and dye, and they charge you emergency visit fees for work that takes less than 10 minutes. But here's the deeper shame. They know that peroxide works. Every commercial plumber I've ever met keeps a jug of industrial strength peroxide in the back of their van for clearing grease traps and sanitizing holding tanks. They just don't tell the homeowner because there's no money in a $1 fix. The average cost of a professional drain clearing in the United States is $289. All seven of the tricks I just gave you cost less than $3 total. That's not a discount. That's a robbery. And they've been getting away with it since the 1950s when the plastic jug was invented. So here's what I want you to do this weekend. Not next month, this weekend. Write this down. Go to your drugstore or grocery store and buy 3 bottles of standard 3% hydrogen peroxide. Not the hair developer, not the 40 volume stuff, just the plain brown bottle. It should cost you under $3 total. This Saturday morning, before you make your coffee, pour 1 cup of that peroxide down every drain in your house. Do not flush it. Let it sit for exactly 30 minutes. Then pour a kettle of boiling water down each one. That's your monthly reset. For your shower drain, mix a half cup of peroxide with 2 tablespoons of baking soda into a paste. Pour it in. Let it sit 1 hour. Follow with a half cup of vinegar and hot water. Do that before you go to bed. On Sunday, if you have a well, pour 1 pint of food-grade 12% peroxide into your well casing, but only if you can find it. If not, just use the regular 3%, but double the quantity. Let it sit overnight and flush in the morning. Take that remaining peroxide, mix it 50-50 with water in a spray bottle, and spray every single faucet, aerodor, and shower head in your home. Let it sit for 15 minutes, then scrub with an old toothbrush. You will be shocked at how much mineral grit comes out. Now, I know some of you are going to ask, Jeremiah, what about the peroxide that's been sitting in my cabinet for 5 years? Is it still good? And that's a fair question. The answer is yes, but it loses potency over time. So if you've got an old bottle, pour a little on a scrap of raw potato. If it fizzes aggressively, it's still active. If it barely bubbles, you need a fresh bottle. But that's a lesson for another day, perhaps, when we talk about the 50-cent trick that keeps your well pump from burning out in a drought. For now, I'll leave you with this. The old ways aren't inferior. They're just inconvenient for the companies that profit from your ignorance. So, get out there, open that cabinet, and take back what's yours. And if you try any of these tricks, I want you to come back here and tell me how much money you saved. Because I've got a dozen more like them, and I'm happy to share every single one.